from the Crypt.
Hello, boils and ghouls. Welcome to episode 230 of Dads from the Crypt. My name is Jason. Tonight, I'm joined by Jody.
Hello.
Hello, Jody of the purple beard.
It's so for people who are not on video, you know, I'm 44. I work from home. I can do whatever I want. And so one day while my wife and kids were all out, I decided to use hair dye and dye my beard. Just the gray. And it was pink for a while, but now it's already fading out because very white gray hair or beard hairs don't like to hold the color. So yeah, it was an experiment. I can always
bring it back to the days I used to work at a nursing home and all the ladies used to dye their hair purple.
It was more pink to begin with, but it's mostly faded out now.
It's very punk of you.
Hey, I don't have anything up top. I got to do something.
Exactly. I personally dug it. I thought you were going for that Argento thing. I thought it was lighting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I keep Argento lighting in my house all the time. So that's just how I live.
Your beard, the purple does actually match your LED lights in your background.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was the lights.
Coordinating.
The other voice you're hearing is Mr. Chef Joe Gatto.
Oh, thanks for having me back, boys. This is awesome. I love it. Tenebrae, you guys, this is a night. I love it.
Yeah, so we're doing our Masters of Horror series, and the last episode we did is the Dario Argento directed Jennifer, starring Steven Weber. Excellent episode. Go check out that review, and also check out our interview with Steven Weber. That should be out by the time you're hearing this. A great time talking about The Shining, Dracula Dead and Loving It. I mean, how often you get to talk to someone that, you know, worked with Mel Brooks and Leslie Nielsen? Come on.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I mean, and you know, Mick Garris. So, you know,
talking about The Shining. And speaking of Mick Garris and other horror adventures, Joe, you got some news for us.
Yeah. I have a really fun collaboration that I have coming out on Monday with Fangoria. So Fangoria and I are working on another project, and we decided to do a collaboration together for the Oscars. So I did these skull calzones that are stuffed with pepperoni and cheese brains. And I did a really fun 1-minute video on how to make them, and really kind of called back. You guys will get all the little references that are in there, and cut in some fun clips from when we were loving horror films back in the day, and, you know, really just showed people how to make them, including the recipes will be on there for the skull calzones, and also for my 72-hour Parmesan herb dough that you can use for it. Or as I said, you know, in the video, you know, or you can just use store-bought if you don't love your family, you know, so, but it's been a real fun collaboration. I've been loving working with Fangoria. They're fantastic. And, you know, we're going to be doing a lot more soon. So this is kind of the introduction for them to my crowd and me to their crowd. So it's really going to be fun. They were such a huge influence on me growing up, you know, which led me to directing my own horror and really getting into it. And what drew me to their magazine, and you guys are so familiar with it as well, is that it was really a peek inside the industry that I loved, that I didn't know how it worked. When I first started reading that magazine, it was like, oh, here's how you do special effects, right? I was like, what is that? I could do that. I want to rip someone's face off. Like, how come I don't do that, right? Like, it was opening up this world and made it accessible. And the thing that I love about food and horror is both crowds are very accepting, and both crowds will embrace you. And you can have a great meal by yourself, you know, and really enjoy it, and watch a horror movie by yourself and really enjoy it. But if you serve a meal to a whole crowd of people, it becomes something different. If you watch a horror movie in a theater, that kind of energy becomes electric. So when these two really started colliding for me, I found they were just such natural partners. And then finding Fangoria and teaming up with them and us finding so much in common as we were having, meetings and discussions, we just really knew that we had a lot in common with both horror and film, or horror, film, and food. So this is going to be a super fun collaboration. I think you guys will love the video, and I think anyone that sees it is going to really get what we're going for, because I don't hold back, and it's not, it's not the Food Network.
Fangoria's got a great team now. I've met several of them, and they're all awesome.
They're amazing. I mean, from Kim and Lindsay, who run the socials, to Armin, Abby, Tara, all of them, that run. I just adore them. They just are a great group of people. They really understand what horror is, and really showing people that horror is so much more than gore. It's so much more than just blood. It's really, there's just so much to it that they get, and I think their audience loves to embrace that part of it. And I know I'm that audience, so I really do too. I really embrace, like, even tonight, it's an art form. Argento, you're talking, it's such a misunderstood genre, but I think it's starting to really get recognized, especially this year with, Sinners and 16 nominations.
Right.
I mean, it's really climbing in and showing that it is right up there with drama, comedy. It holds its own, and it has all those elements. Plus, who doesn't like a good scare?
Yeah, shout out Ugly Stepsister as well for the on the Oscars.
Right.
Now, Joe, where can people find these videos?
So this video will be dropping on Monday, which is March 9th. And you can find out on my Instagram. It'll also be, collaborating with Fangoria, so it will be on theirs as well. And please check it out. Definitely leave me a message of what you thought about it, and if you're going to make it, definitely tag me. And I'm at Chef Joe Gatto on Instagram, and Fangoria's Fangoria. So we're both very easy to find. And I want people to really make this. That's the whole thing, is making these fun foods that I make, because I have another TV show called From Scratch, where I traveled around New England making my own knives and charcoal and pulling water out of the Atlantic, making salt. I mean, I made everything from scratch. And that's kind of how I became a private chef for Celtics players, Red Sox players, and stuff like that. It was that kind of that reputation. But I've taken that and I've really kind of made it more accessible for people, so they kind of understand what's going in their food. But you can make something that's really spectacular and really next level by just making a couple of the elements and they're not that hard, and it's kind of really fun. And to take it from the core all the way up, it's like film production, right? You got to do all the pre-production, and then production's really hard, but when you see it on the screen, it's worth all the time and effort you spent. And it's the same for a great meal in the kitchen. And when you make your own pizza dough, people think it's super hard and it takes way too much time, but fermentation's doing all the work, right? You're just putting together the elements and then letting it rise, and then putting it in the fridge and letting it rise. Making your own pizza sauce, I think, is such a huge element when you're making pizzas or anything like that. And the key to pizza sauce is you don't cook it. So that's how easy that is, right? You never cook pizza sauce, because you're going to cook it when it goes in the oven, and you don't want to mute all the flavors. You want it to be fresh. So when it comes out, it's just hot and still has that tang. That's the idea, right? You have that beautiful crunchy crust that has that nice puff, because you have that 72-hour, 48-hour rise on it. That nice tomato sauce that has that tang, and creamy, fresh pulled mods. Like, then you have the ultimate experience. Do you have to do every element? No, but the idea is to open up the world to do something like that. And Skull Calzones is, is opening the door to it, because you are making your own dough, but you're having fun with it, and you can do it with the kids. And it's really how I love to teach.
Love it.
I haven't had dinner yet tonight, and just
I
hearing
know. I'm like, can I order pizza while we're recording? All right, we'll definitely get to more cooking ideas later on in the show. But first, I want to give a shout out to our Patreon. We have some wonderful new episodes coming out. Already out. Me and Allison from the Who's There podcast have a review of Scream 7. And we had a really good time with that. And then we also recorded a separate episode that'll be out later this month about our ranking of the Scream series, our updated ranking. We had a really good time with that as well, kind of talking through those. And it's interesting how different we had certain things, but yeah, especially now that we like have the return of Kevin Williamson, how like it's almost like there's the Kevin Williamson series versus the Radio Silence series. So it's a really fun episode. Again, that's on our Patreon along with a bunch of other mini reviews. That's at the $3 and above level on our Patreon. All right. So again, we're doing a Dario Argento movie this week. Jody, give us your plot synopsis.
I'm just so glad that if I have to synopsize an Argento movie, it's one of the ones that has a coherent plot that you can follow all the way from the beginning to the end. So many of them. I couldn't do it. But this one has a fairly straightforward plot. We meet Peter Neal. He's an American writer who wrote a book called Tenebrae, which means darkness. He is in Italy doing a press tour. He's there with his agent, Bulmer, and his assistant, Anne. He doesn't know this, but in the background, skulking around, is his ex-fiancée, Jane, who is also there in Rome. We don't know why she's there, but she is there. And right before he gets to Rome, a young woman is murdered by an unseen assailant. He has the razor blade, and he stuffs her mouth full of pages from the book Tenebrae. And so they immediately go to Peter Neal and ask him, for his help with this. It's one of those, the author just kind of gets pulled in as like a police consultant.
I'm on a podcast, just so you know.
With the police captain, Germani, is there with him. And so it's a Giallo, so more killings happen. A journalist named Tilda and her lover are killed. It's one of those very famous Argento scenes with the slicing of the fabric and her face popping through, or her head hanging over the edge as her throat is slit and it crashes through that glass. A young woman who works at the hotel where he's staying. I think her father owns the hotel or something like that. She is murdered. And Neil notices that there's this TV interviewer that's a little too into things. He's a little too excited to talk to him. And so he and a assistant named Johnny, they go and try to look at this guy to see if they can get any hints if he's up to anything.
Before we go any further, we're giving spoilers.
Oh yeah. No,
we're a spoiler show. Just in case anybody is at this point planning to watch.
I haven't spoiled anything yet. If you don't want to be spoiled, skip ahead like a minute, and then hopefully I'll be done talking. If I'm still talking in a minute, like only me, then keep skipping. You'll get there. All right. So while they're looking through the window at this reporter's house, that reporter is killed by a man with an axe. And Johnny does not see who kills him, but he does witness the entire murder. The police chief realizes that this man was obsessed with Neil's novels, and he thinks it's over now, but it's not, because his agent Bulmer is killed in broad daylight, just stabbed in the stomach several times. And Johnny feels like maybe he missed something at the house, so he goes back to the house to look around, and there he remembers seeing the reporter saying, I killed them all before he got murdered. And Johnny goes, okay, so he was the killer, but someone else killed him. But before Johnny can say anything, he gets strangled. Then we have Jane, who, again, Peter Neal's ex-fiancée. She is there in Rome. She has been having an affair with Bulmer, or not an affair. I guess they've had a relationship now. But she's sitting there in her house holding a gun. She's very nervous. And a axe flies through the window and chops off her arm. And this is another one of those Argento moments where she turns and the blood sprays across the wall, and she gets attacked with the axe and dies. And so then the inspector comes. He also gets killed. Wait, does it happen then? No.
No, the secretary or assistant comes.
One of the inspectors comes and gets killed by the axe, the female inspector. And the killer thinks that it is the assistant, Anne, who works for Peter Neal. The reason why the killer thinks that is because we find out that Peter Neal has become a killer. The first half was the reporter, and then Peter Neal saw an opportunity to take out some people he really didn't like, such as his ex-fiancée and his agent who had a relationship with her. He has this throughout the movie. We get little glimpses of this memory that is opened up as all these violent murders started taking place, where Peter was a young boy and there was a woman, a very attractive woman, out on a beach, and she humiliated him and stuck a stiletto shoe in his mouth, and later he murdered her. And so he was a murderer back then, and all of this has re-triggered it. He is now a murderer again. So they get ready to arrest him, and he takes a razor blade and slices his own throat. It's really intense look on his face, and falls down. The police chief and Anne go out to their car to wait for a little bit, but they go back into the house. He's not there. It wasn't a real razor. He faked the whole thing. He comes out, kills the police chief, and then as he is going after Anne knocks over this statue, which is, I guess, a statue made to get stabbed by, because it's just all pointy things in every direction. And it does what it's supposed to do. It stabs right through him, sticks him to the wall, and the movie ends with Anne screaming and screaming at all of the bloodshed. So,
all
yeah.
right. Thank you, Jody.
Awesome.
All right, Chef Joe, since you chose the movie, you can start us off and tell us what you think and why you chose this one.
I mean, for me, this is my favorite Argento.
Mhm.
I love the Giallo anyway, right? And I love that, so many of them, right? But what struck me immediately is just a highly stylized Argento, but with a story, which
Mhm.
I absolutely loved. And I thought the color palette that he chose was incredible, all bright at the beginning. And you're just thrown off by this murder mystery that's just all in daylight and super bright, and that becomes darker and darker and darker as the story gets darker. I mean, if I really had to say my favorite thing about this movie, I love so many aspects of it, but the soundtrack is just kick ass.
Yes.
Goblin is unbelievable. So if you're not familiar with Goblin, just download this soundtrack to this movie and you will forever be a fan. It's absolutely synth killer music. But go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, actually, at least according to IMDb, let's take it with that. We'll take it with that. But a lot of the soundtrack is reused Goblin music from the Dawn of the Dead Italian version.
Oh wow!
Because Dario Argento did a Italian cut of Dawn of the Dead and got Goblin to do some music, but I guess they had some outtakes that they used for this movie.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't the full Goblin band. It was three of the members, if I'm not mistaken. And like I watched it again. I watched this. I've seen it a couple times at this point, but I watched it again last week, and I've just been playing the soundtrack in my car constantly.
Yep.
I just can't get away. And I played it for my kids, like my 8-year-old, my 13-year-old, and my 16-year-old, and they all loved it. They were all like, "This is my son, who's like a varsity basketball player, teenager." He was like, "This is tough, man. This is tough." I did, and it was so many of those elements, and I love the Giallo. I'm just a fan of it with the razors and the kills and just the way it's laid out. But I really thought, because Argento, like, everyone digs his movies and they can be out there, right? The Three Witches and everything else, and I dig them, but they can be a little just too out there sometimes, and they just don't hold my interest as much as this one did, because I do agree that I thought the plot was good, and it was fun, and it was a fun murder mystery, but it's always, for me, with Argento, it's that highly stylized visuals where he's got a frame and he's shooting, and it's all white, and it's very just white, and you're following the story, but the splash of red comes in, and you immediately know, okay, something's happening. And he's telling the story visually, which so many people seem to forget when they're making horror, that this visual medium is there for you to really explore. And I think Argento does that in a way that very few directors actually do. And I think this, to me, Tenebrae is the top of the heap of that. Like, I know Suspiria and everything, and how highly stylized that is, but I felt his visuals really enhanced the storytelling. And that's why it's always stuck out for me, and that's why it's always been my favorite for me. From him, I just really think this is my favorite movie by him, for sure.
All right, Jody.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like a lot of Argento. I like his Giallo, I think, more than when he's doing his supernatural stuff, because I love Suspiria. Suspiria is fun to watch. I don't know what's going on through most of it. If you go watch Inferno after that, you won't know what's going on at any point in that movie. So I enjoy them, but I like the Giallo better. I like The Bird with the Crystal Plumage is great.
Yeah, that's a great one too.
Yeah, I know a lot of people say Deep Red is his best, but I think this is his best too. There's just something about it. Some of the visuals are so striking. Like I said, when she gets her hand cut off, and just that like arc of blood on the wall as she's turning around, and the stylized nature of it. It's weird to say like all the murders are very artistic, but the murders are very shot. Yeah. The second murder where the woman's putting on her shirt and she's got it like stuck over her head and trying to pull it down, and you see the razor slit the shirt, and it's just her face with the white all around it until the blood splatter hits. And it's just, there are images in this movie that have stuck with me since I first saw it. This is one of those that I had in the early days of Netflix, back when Netflix was a DVD rental service. The first time that all this world opened up to me. I'd heard of Argento, I had read stuff online, but I had never seen any of his movies. They didn't come to my little local video store. But early days of Netflix, I ate all of this up as fast as I could, as much as I could, and this was my favorite. And it might be my favorite Giallo in general, but it's definitely my favorite Argento.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite Giallo as well. And I in that arm shot where she gets the axe and she spins to spray the wall, which is absolutely stunning and beautiful and dreamlike in a way. I read online that's Quentin Tarantino's favorite kill.
I can see that.
When you look at that, immediately when I read that, I was like, oh my God, it's Kill Bill.
Yeah, let's think about Kill Bill.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that splash of red against that contrast of white, it just made so much sense.
Yeah, I was also reading on IMDb that they couldn't get the blood to like splurt how they wanted to, so they actually end up using a blood squib, like they use when someone gets shot to like get
wow.
So usually they like use a tube and they just kind of push it up. They want more of a geyser, as you want
fantastic. To do. That's awesome.
This was a first time watch for me. I've always been an Argento appreciator. I usually watch. I've seen Suspiria, I've seen Opera, and I've seen Bird with the Crystal Plumage. It's ones that I watch them. I like them, but I'm not like dying to go back. But I'll give it. I'll always take another excuse to watch them. I really like Bird with the Crystal Plumage. That's
I did too.
It's a great.
I was kind of hoping to see that one, so I have an excuse to revisit. But I also like having an excuse to watch his other movies.
That's my second favorite one for sure, and
I
then
think so, too.
Suspiria.
Yeah. I liked this a lot. I wasn't like blown away. There were like, it was one of those things where there were bits I liked, and I don't know if I was just like tired while I was watching. It's been a really long week. So it wasn't like blown away, and I had to like rewind it a little bit because I thought I was missing some stuff. But again, there's some amazing imagery. Once the plot gets going, and I don't know if I was just expecting something supernatural to happen. So I don't know if I was just like waiting for something crazy, like a goblin beast, witch, something to show up at some point. Because again, the name Tenebrae means like darkness, and it's actually also a term for a Christian like service of some sort. So I was waiting for it was like something supernatural. I think I was just like caught off guard that it's more Hitchcockian than anything else. You could totally see like Hitchcock making this movie, you know, in a Hitchcock manner.
Oh, I think if Hitchcock had continued making movies in the 70s and 80s, he would be making stuff just like this, because he would have had the freedom to do all the blood and artistry like these guys did. If there was an 80s Hitchcock movie, I think it would be very close to this type of thing.
I found parallels of Brian De Palma's work in it as well.
Yes. Oh, I was going to say that's the other one, like Dressed to Kill, and what's the other one that Joe did?
Body Double.
Joe Perry, Body Double. Those two movies like are kind of mixed up in my head, but yeah, which I think it's Brian De Palma doing Giallo for Americans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's some really great sequences. Man, that dog is the most tenacious movie dog I've ever seen in my life. There's a sequence where a dog's chasing a woman through a park, through a field, through a house,
multiple fences. This dog,
this dog really
6 foot tall fences.
That dog was athletic. It reminded me of Man's Best Friend. Remember that with Ali Sheedy, which I had read had the best pitch line of all time. They said it's Jaws on pause.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
There's a lot of little bits that were kind of like, a little absurdity moments like that. And there's like another scene where a woman's in the car and she hears a noise that a character makes in an apartment during a rainstorm. And like, she's like, there's no way she could possibly hear that, but you just kind of go with it. This feels very much like an Argento, like trying to make a statement about himself or as an artist. You know, whenever you have like a writer as the main story, you kind of feel like, okay, the author / writer of the movie is trying to trying to make a statement about his own art. I feel very much like about that. So it's a very personal movie in ways. And then, you know, how I think probably because people probably accused him of being, you know, this ultra violence peddling, you know, filmmaker. And, you know, in this movie, in the end, we have the writer being the one in the end that's driven to kill by someone else. So yeah, I felt like Argento kind of coming back to form a little bit and trying to say like, oh, you want to see how mad I am, like at what I can do.
It made that nasty list, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
This one got banned.
But I think I'm not sure I remember this right, but I think in America, it was the biggest issue the ratings board had with it was the lesbian scenes.
Probably.
Which, of course, America.
Right. Sounds right for America.
Right? Like, oh no, chop off arms.
Existed.
That's fine. Yeah. Chop everything off. That's cool. But don't show boobs.
Yeah, I know. I love seeing John Saxon in the movie. Just any excuse. Just always a good time to watch. That scene where he gets stabbed like in the middle of the day, you're like, whoa. Like you feel like something's gonna happen, but like I was waiting for, I don't know, it seemed really ballsy to do that.
I really like how they set up that scene too, because he's meeting a woman and he just sits because she's not there yet. So he sits and he's looking around and he's looking at this thing over here and looking at this thing over here and looking at this thing over here, and then he gets murdered. And it's just so peaceful that, you know, he's just kind of hanging out and looking around at all the various people around him. And then out of nowhere, stab right in the gut.
Yeah, and that little kid, the ball rolls over. Yeah. It's done very well.
Yeah.
Now the reporter had that like murder basement to like develop his pictures and everything. Did the police ever find that? I was really confused.
The girl stole most of the pictures and everything, and he mowed back over them at one point to chop them
right.
or somebody did. Somebody mowed
Somebody did, but I'm assuming, but there was still like film and stuff
them.
hanging. So
Yeah.
I didn't realize if the police didn't find it and they didn't think he was the killer, or like they just never found it was like some hidden basement, but it didn't seem that well hidden.
Yeah, I think once he got killed, they were pretty much like, okay, that was it. We solved the problem. I mean, who killed him? They just kind of didn't worry about it.
Yeah, that was kind of, now that I'm thinking about it, that was a little flimsy there. It was
This
really,
is again, this is how I process
All right.
movies. This is a very Jason trying to find logic and everything.
I let that go because it definitely wasn't hidden. It was like the family room, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And the house is beautiful though.
It really was.
There's a lot of like architecture and like you said, the sculpture is really interesting. So I'm obviously Argento has a good eye for these things.
Yeah,
And
a
that
lot of
opening
Giallo,
kill, just the best. Stuffing
yeah.
the book into her mouth.
Mhm.
I mean, that's definitely Argento giving the finger, and
He's
I
like
love
stuffing. He's like, oh, if you want more of my art, you want more of my my movies. Like, I'm gonna stuff you in the mouth with it.
that. Right, I'm literally
on
going
the
to shove
screen.
it down your throat. You know,
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, I like this too because it has, some of those Argento indulgences that you
Mhm.
either are on board with or you're like, oh, this guy, he's doing. There's this right before the two women are killed. There's this one shot. It's outside the window, and the Tenebrae soundtrack kicks in, the theme song, and the camera moves all the way like around the house, up the side, over the ceiling. It's a slow pan through all of it, and then at the end of it, we're there for the murder. It's and it's an indulgence. It's Argento doing Argento, but I like it. I think it does set up that scene. Is it necessary? No, but that's the artistry that he's going for with this.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I love that sequence, and for that very reason, Jody, I totally agree. It's that Argento. Right. Does it have to be there? Could it have done? You do it in edits, of course. Right. You could do it faster. You could do it more efficiently. You could probably do it with more scare. But the way he did it just had so much tone and really drew you into that moment as he's telling this mini story within this larger framework. And the way he did it, I just thought was so creative. I was like, because you're aware, the cool thing was for me, I was aware of the shot, which, you're not supposed to be a blah, blah, blah. But I was like, wow, this guy's just taking me on a ride.
Yeah.
I dig that. Like, I dig that. That's taking a chance as opposed to, well, I better cut to the wide, to the close up, and then show, you can cut a Hitchcockian and, but the way he did it was him. That was so Argento. You could call that kind of shot like an Argento, right? Like it was just, I just loved it. I loved that moment, and the Goblin soundtrack kicking in there. It was just so kick-ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, another shot I really loved is when the police chief comes back into the house and the body's missing.
Yeah.
And he like bends over and you see the writer who's the real killer.
Oh,
right
yeah,
behind him,
yeah.
like in his like in his silhouette.
Yeah.
He bends back up and he like disappears again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's man, I forgot about that one. That's such a cool shot too.
That ending just has you like, wait, what? Holy crap.
Because again, I'm thinking like, oh wait, well, this killer's suddenly using an axe. Like why is he changing his MO? And like we haven't seen the glove hand. So like there's hints that it's a different killer.
Right.
That like at least I was picking up on some level. But I was like, okay, is he being, but again, I'm thinking like, is he being sloppy? Or are they just like changing things up? But then it makes sense in hindsight now. That kind of stuff makes sense.
Yeah. Argento, man. I was the same, Jody. Like I found Argento in the video store, and he always had the cool covers.
Yeah.
Right.
This
like
one,
they always like just stood out. And when I found like his movies, I was like, it was just so different than American movies. And and VHS was such a big part of my life because I ran video stores when I was a kid and up through my 20s. So that's where I developed my love for all these films because they were so accessible, right? And you just like,
Mhm.
I found everything from like Argento to, Tetsuo the Iron Man, where
Mhm.
it's just like I watched that and I wasn't sure I should have.
Right.
You know?
This
And
this one,
I missed that time. I missed that physical media time.
yeah, this one's got a great cover too. With the, I mean, if you're watching on video, you can see it to the side. Just that very pale woman with her
Yeah.
hair hanging back and the little trickle of blood across her throat. I used to have this one on a VHS, like one of those old clamshell VHS tapes, and
Absolutely.
oh man, I sold it at some point, and I wish I hadn't. I miss it.
I miss it. If I I have the Criterion channel,
Mhm.
which I'm a
Mhm.
huge fan of. And they just came out with a whole series, like basically for the love of VHS. So
Yeah.
they're doing this. It was really interesting. There's actually a 3-hour doc on VHS, which
Mhm.
is um, Maya Hawk actually does the VO for it, and
That's cool.
it runs through the beginning of how VHS came to be, but how it influenced, you know, our lives all the
Mhm.
way through to how it died out. And like I said, it's 3 hours long, and it's really, really, really engaging. And if you loved VHS and you loved that time and it influenced you, I would heavily recommend watching it because they reference everything that had a video in it to show, and a video store. So Body Double was in there because he goes into a video store, and they're
Mhm.
explaining how when the video store was represented in the early days, it was more like a little sketchy, right?
Yeah.
Like lit, kind of sketchy, lit like an Argento. There was sections you don't go into.
There was the
Some
little back
rooms had
room. Yeah.
beads,
Yep.
exactly. But then as it progressed, it got to that overlit,
Blockbuster.
blockbustery, right?
Yeah.
So if you really love video and just how you fell in love with movies, I would highly recommend getting that. I don't know if it's in theaters or not, but I caught it on Criterion, and they had like remote control on there and like all these movies I hadn't seen forever. I mean, remote control, I don't know if you guys have seen that
Mhm.
with Kevin Dillon.
Mm-mm.
That was just that movie's a riot. It's out there, but it's like right at the same time where he came out with the remake of The Blob. So it
Okay.
was there was just some really cool. They had Body Double. There was so many that I've just been kind of going through. Clerks, of course, is on there, but you know, you guys are definitely from that time where
Mhm.
physical media and that box art, like Tenebrae, like Suspiria. I mean, I can name a million films, like I'm sure you guys can, that the box art, I was
Well,
like I thought Swamp Thing by Wes Craven was going to be one of the greatest movies I ever saw. That box art kicked ass.
Joe, did you see the movie Y2K that came out, I think last year or at the end of the year
Mm-mm.
before? Okay, there's a really fun. It takes place over Y2K, and there's a really fun scene that takes place in the video store. So I'm not gonna ruin
Oh,
it for you,
cool.
but
I really like that movie, by
I
the
really
way.
like
I'll
it
check that
too.
out.
Yeah.
Like it's dumb, but it's fun,
Yeah.
and there's a fun
Yeah,
scene.
I love a movie where you
The
just check your brain at the door.
and it's the best use of the thong song in any movie that I've
Yeah.
ever heard. So
Sold.
Um. So as I mentioned earlier, Tenebrae is Italian for darkness, but it's
Mhm.
also a religious service in Christianity
Mhm.
held during the 3 days preceding Easter and characterized by a gradual extinguishing of candles and quote loud noise in the total darkness at the end of the service. If
Wow.
you Google that, and there's actually like a candle, like candelabra with
Mhm.
15 candles, like all like kind of in the row, then it goes back down, and they extinguish one as the service goes. And I guess there's a loud noise at the end. It sounds kind of awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. Holy crap.
Are you looking at it?
I that-
Yeah.
there's I feel like I'm gonna go down this rabbit hole with this tonight.
I know, I'm already on like the Wikipedia page, and it's going into a bunch
Yeah.
of Catholic stuff that I don't understand because I'm not
I
Catholic.
didn't grow up Catholic either, so
I did, so I'm sure some of this I'm gonna be like, oh, I should probably not look at this, and I'll feel guilty all day.
There you go. You can feel guilty no matter what. So
Exactly.
all right,
I'm Catholic.
let's move to our ratings. Joe, what do you give this movie? Do we do
What
0 to
is our?
5, 5 being the best? Yada yada yada.
I would give Tenebrae a 3 out of 5 for me. I really love it. It's really fun. My rating scale, 5 out of 5 there's probably be like 3 films on there.
Mhm.
So
There
4
we
out
go.
of
Now we're
5,
talking.
3 out of 5 is something that I would recommend and watch again. And, I'd love to revisit. You know what? Can I give it a half star extra
Okay,
because of
you can do half.
I'm going to give it 3.5 because I love the soundtrack so much.
Mhm. Okay, Jody.
Yeah, I'm very generous with my ratings, just because I really do love this movie, and I've watched a lot of Giallo, and this one for me it just stands out above everything else. So I'm going all the way and giving it a 5. It's just
Wow.
Oh, all
Wow.
right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm much more in the Joe camp. Or like, yeah, Jaws is a 5, and is this Jaws? No, it's not.
Right.
So yeah, 3.5 feels really good. I was thinking even 3, but you're right. The soundtrack is really good. That's the kind of stuff that bumps it up. Like,
It's just for me, it's just those moments, those the things that I'd never forget from the very first time I watched it, like the hand chopping or the the white with the slit in it, all those scenes, the weird dreamy scenes of Peter's past. I love those too. Like you have no
Me
idea what's
too.
going on when you first see them because they're kind of interspersed randomly, but
Yeah.
I think they're great.
That's another thing Argento does well is he doesn't spoon feed you.
No.
no,
And
no,
I
not at
like
all.
that.
Yeah.
Like I like having to catch up during movies. I think it's fun where I'm like, what the hell was that? Wait a second. Is that now? Like, why is she doing that to him? Oh, is that him as a kid? Oh, okay. Now, I see.
Right.
And then later the heel comes back and you're like, oh,
Yep.
I get it.
Yep.
All right, let's do a shout out.
Hey, I'm Kevin Dillon. You're listening to Dads from the Crypt. Victory!
That's awesome.
We just mentioned it.
Jason just listens for keywords as we're talking. Be like,
That was
I know.
great.
I totally forgot to choose one, and you mentioned them. I was like, oh, I have that one.
Remote Control was absolutely wild.
Mhm.
That
All
was
right, I'll
just
put that on my list.
a wild movie. But fun.
All right.
Yeah.
Mondo's not here for song of the day, so again, I kind of scrambled like 10 minutes ago to find something. And again, I'm a big John Saxon fan, and there is a band named Saxon, which was a British metal band in the late 70s and into the 80s, kind of the new wave of British heavy metal. It's very close to like Iron Maiden. And I forgot the other band, Def Leppard. Is it Def Leppard? Could be thinking of. So yeah, those kind of heavy metal British bands. So I was like, okay, let me find a song in tribute to John Saxon, and I pulled up Spotify, and the first song that comes up is called "Princess of the Night."
Okay.
Now, to me, that sounds like it could be an Argento movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
It definitely has like an ethereal theme, and he's always has woman in peril.
Yeah.
But when I opened up the IMDb, it turns out the Wikipedia, it's actually about a train.
Close enough.
I guess the town they grew up in Glamorgan in the UK, had a huge area for old steam trains that weren't in use anymore. So then they lived right next to there, and they loved seeing the steam trains come in, and they just decided that the steam train reminded them of a princess gliding through the night.
Okay.
It's sweet.
Yeah, it's kind of sweet.
I mean,
It's actually a really good song too, if you like that kind of music. Yeah, okay. There's a quote that says, anyway, late at night, if I couldn't sleep, I used to look at those ghostly engines and imagine them painted up and back in their glory. It's my romantic side coming out.
no, it's like when I look in the mirror.
Exactly. Princess of the Nights by Saxon. All right, Jody, let's talk some trailers and news.
All right. So I've got some releases to mention. So coming to on digital now, you can watch Whistle. That's the Aztec death whistle movie.
Yeah.
It's got Sophie Nellis in it from Yellow Jackets. She plays young Shauna. I'm excited to watch it. I've heard a lot of good things. It's a popcorn movie. It's a lot of gore and creepy stuff, but hey, I like that. Return to Silent Hill is also out on digital.
Yeah.
Was it actually in theaters?
Great
Can
things.
anyone confirm that actually anyone saw it in theater?
I mean, I know a couple people who saw it in theater. Things come out really fast now. There's one that I'm interested in checking out called No Seums that just came to digital. It's like Get Out meets Candyman is the tagline. I don't know what that means, and I can't really picture it, but I'm willing to try because I like both of those. And of course, Scream 7's in theaters right now, if you want to go watch that. As far as trailers, we got a lot of trailers that have been released in the last week or so. The one I think I'm most excited about, and I haven't been excited about her other movies. It's from Jane Schoenberg, who did I Saw the TV Glow. And this movie is called Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. And it has Gillian Anderson in it. And it's about it's kind of a meta thing about there were sequels in this fandom or this franchise called Camp Miasma. It's a slasher franchise. There's a new director coming in, and he visits the original movie star, and I think that's Gillian Anderson. And she's a recluse now, living shrouded by mystery. It was described as Portrait of a Lady on Fire set in a Friday the 13th sequel. That sounds really cool to me, and I love anything camp related. That's always my favorite. So very excited for that one.
Yeah, the cast is very interesting because it's Gillian Anderson, Hannah Einberger, Bunder, Sarah Sherman, Dylan Baker. And it's funny because this director is known for these like very esoteric movies. And there's a scene in the trailer where Gillian Anderson is saying the scene's a bunch of nonsense. You don't know. You're like, okay, you know what any of that means. And the character's fun too, has like the perfect like blank face. Like what? Yeah, so I think it's almost like the director is recognizing how people are accepting her movies, and she's kind of poking
right.
at it.
I'm excited for that one. But as long as we're talking about camp movies, In a Violent Nature 2 got the first trailer out. And
yes,
I am so excited. It's also camp.
So excited.
I love the first one so very much. These movies were made for me. Other trailers though, Mortal Kombat 2. Lots of Johnny Cage in this trailer. It looks a lot of fun. You get to see more of the characters that have been throughout the series. I really like the reimagining or reboot of the franchise. That last one, it was mostly Scorpion related. Really fun.
Yeah, I'm really pumped.
We have a trailer for Pinocchio Unstrung, the latest movie in the Pooniverse.
Okay. Is it
what the hell's a
actually
Pooniverse? I've never even heard of that.
Oh,
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh no. This is a rabbit hole you don't want to go in.
Okay.
Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey was made by this guy, and all of these other movies are related to those movies, and like they happen in the same world somehow.
I see.
Public domain things.
I've avoided just based on the trailers. I've avoided all of them, but like I kind of like this trailer.
The Pinocchio one looks pretty fun, honestly. I gotta say,
it looks a Pinocchio body horror movie as he's trying to become a real boy by stealing body parts. I'm like, yeah, I'm into that.
I wonder if they'll get them all together like an Avengers thing.
I think they are. I think they're going to.
Okay.
I
don't know what that will be, but I think it's in the works.
No, I don't know if this is like just a good trailer or if it actually will make a good movie. We'll see. Yeah. And Richard Brake, it looks pretty good in it. That's Geppetto.
Robert Englund's in it too.
Oh wow!
All right, two more. So this is, we talked about VHSs a minute ago. This is one I always saw in the store, but I never dared pick up because it was too much. But Faces of Death. There's a new Faces of Death movie coming out. They're abandoning the like this is all real thing that they tried to trick everybody with in the originals. So this is it's just a movie. It looks more like an anthology movie to me. It's got I don't want to say his name. The guy who played Billy in Stranger Things, Dacre Montgomery. He's in it. So it's obviously a like scripted thing. Like they're not trying to trick you anymore.
But it's about the original movies.
Is it?
You know?
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's like a meta thing where
Okay.
like in this world, like the original movies exist in this universe, and someone's I think maybe trying to recreate them.
Okay.
I think that's kind of where it's going. So I think it's kind of like a meta thing about those movies, which it sounds kind of interesting.
Yeah. I like I said, I never watched the originals. They just never appealed to me. Even when I was in my like eat up everything I could phase. I watched, Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left and all those like nasty 70s movies. But Faces of Death was always one that I avoided. But this one I might check out.
It's not that bad, and you can tell a lot of it's really.
Oh, I know. I'm sure
we
now.
saw it when we were kids. We like all the teens. Me and all my friends were like sit around and we're like, gross, holy crap, and then you're like, it doesn't look real though. Like, and who's filming? Like, all of a sudden you just start asking questions.
Right. Well, for those that aren't aware, like, because there's stuff that's filmed for the movie, but then they slice in like nature videos and stuff that's real. So like, it's trying to. So if you're impressionable enough, you can kind of like start to get you're watching
it on an old CRT TV,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they got everybody. They got everybody.
They show like medical footage. They show like real medical footage. So you're seeing some real stuff.
Yeah. There are some movies that I just don't think survive the transition to like HD, because it looks great on a crappy old TV. But as soon as you like upgrade it to something nice, it doesn't look the same anymore.
That's the appeal of it, is that you're finding something almost like lost footage and you're watching it in your friend's basement and you're not supposed to. That's the whole part of it, right? The appeal.
Right. It's been dubbed over like 20 times.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. One more trailer. I saw this when I went to see Scream 7 last week. We're getting a new scary movie. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a mixed relationship with the series. I liked the first one when it came out. I don't know if I would still like it now. I don't know if it holds up at all. This one does start with a pronoun joke. So
I
don't know.
I mean, there's a couple funny bits.
Yeah. I don't
later on, especially if you saw so there's a difference between the one that's in the theater, the one that's online.
Mm-hmm.
The one in the theater ends with a joke about Sydney not being in Scream 6.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
the online ones has like some other joke. Yeah, the pronoun joke, it's just not good either.
No, it's not funny. Like, it's just a hard joke at this point.
But like seeing the first one in the theater with all my friends, it's probably one of the funniest movies I've ever, like funniest times I've ever had at a movie theater. But again, that's a different time, and a lot of it's not aged well. So
we'll see. I still like the Wayans, and I like them in the movies, and I think they're a lot of fun to watch. And they're bringing back like all the people who were in the originals, like Anna Faris is in there again, and that's what makes me want to give it another shot.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't gotten Anna Faris cameo in the Scream movie yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's very funny.
Okay, physical media. Few releases to talk about.
Jody, there's one more. I think there's one more trailer.
Oh, did I miss one?
Exit something.
So there's a movie called Exit 8. I think the reason I took it out is because I think maybe it already came out a while ago, but not here. Okay. Like it was a Japanese movie that looks like I think it's based on a video game, and it's like a subway place that maybe is hell from what it looks like from the trailer. It looks really cool. I'm definitely going to check it out. But Exit 8 is
that looked really cool. If it's out, I want to find it on digital.
Yeah, it is out. So you can watch that one right now. So physical media, a couple of releases to talk about. Frankenhooker's getting a 4K release.
Which again, I don't know if I want to watch that in 4K.
It's limited to 5,000 copies. You can get it directly from Snaps Films. So if you want one, snatch it up. It's $50. We're also getting a 4K of Piranha, the Joe Dante Piranha.
Love Piranha
from Scream Factory. Piranha's so good.
Huge fan. John Sayles, for God's sakes, wrote friggin' screenplay. I mean, And just look at the effects team on that. It's like a who's who.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
It's so good. It's kind of the forgotten Joe Dante movie, but it needs more people need to watch Piranha, I think.
Agreed.
Another one coming out for 4K March 31st. We're getting Salem's Lot, the original miniseries Salem's Lot in 4K.
Is that Toby
from
Hooper,
Arrow
right?
Video.
That's Toby Hooper, right?
Yeah, Toby Hooper.
Greatest shot ever when the kid's scraping outside the window.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
And then one more that I just wanted to mention because I love it and I watch it sometime every fall. We're finally getting a physical release, a Blu-ray of Over the Garden Wall. And if you've never watched that, you've got kids. It's beautiful animation. It's got great voice work. Elijah Wood's in it. It's kind of creepy and there's like spooky things in the woods. It's so good. It's like the perfect fall TV series. I think there's like maybe 10 episodes, but definitely check that out. Last thing, 2 little pieces of news. One piece of sad news, or hopefully not too sad. Bruce Campbell has recently announced that he has been diagnosed with what he says is a treatable form of cancer. He says, I expect to be around for a while. I don't know, but, think about Bruce. If anybody can kick cancer's ass, it would be Bruce Campbell, right?
Absolutely.
So just keep Bruce in your thoughts. And then lastly, we are getting a third Becky movie called The Last Temptation of Becky, still with Lulu Wilson in it. Neil Patrick Harris is going to be in it, Kate Siegel. So going to be great.
Is Neil Patrick Harris going to play the
probably
the big bad?
Based on how these other ones have been? So you got Kevin James as a Nazi with a big swastika on the back of his head in the first one. You've got who was it in the second one? Sean William Scott. Yeah. So, and now we've got Neil Patrick Harris. I think they're having fun picking these comedians to play these nasty roles. So yeah,
I love that.
And Lulu Wilson's great in everything she's been in. So I love this evolution she's been making through the Becky movies.
Yeah, I saw her do a little speech at the convention about the Becky movies. She's really cool, and she did a really fun shout out for us.
Yeah, she did. I love hers.
I want to find the producers and can I just be a background like skinhead or something?
I mean, you've already got the head. I could join in too. we both kind of.
I'll cross my fingers
in the first one.
Yeah. I'll cross my fingers when I say mean things.
There you go.
Or look mean.
But that's all I got. A lot of cool stuff coming out. Lots of stuff coming down the pipe too.
All right, Joe. This is an Italian movie. We started talking about Italian foods. I thought you could give us some Italian cooking advice, and also, Italian cooking is very carb heavy. As someone who doesn't eat carbs for health reasons, I was wondering if you also had any low carb Italian recipes you could give us. But I was very curious about your pizza sauce.
Yeah,
talking about the non-cook.
Pizza sauce is something. I obsess over. So the key to pizza sauce, just real quick, is always use just high-end tomatoes, right? Like San Marzanos. And then the whole idea is you just season them with a little bit of herbs, salt, and pepper. That's it. And they'll do their job. The only reason...
You blend
what's
it?
that?
But then you blend it, but don't cook it?
Yeah, I don't even blend it. I leave it chunky. I like a little chunk of mine, but feel free to if you want. Like, I'm not going to judge, not openly. But yeah, so like you never want to cook it. You need that freshness. That's the whole idea behind the tomato sauce. If you're cooking it down like a marinara and then you're using it, you've taken all the flavor, right? And you made it homogeneous, which is not what you want to do. You want that bright acidic tone to complement that creamy cheese and to give you that bite. The minute you cook it, you take all of that away. And Italian cooking is something that we do a lot of classes in Boston every week. So, one of the keys, if you don't want to eat carb heavy, but you like things like piccata, you can swap out regular AP flour for things like almond flour. And you can still get a crisp on there and still have that, piccata or marsala, and just taking those things away, right? Like taking those carbs out of it. Don't put it over spaghetti, right? And if you don't want to, if you do want to have like that spaghetti kind of feel, do zucchini noodles,
Mhm.
right? Like you can replace things like that in and out and save yourself the carbs, because I don't eat a lot of carbs either. Like I'm not a big carb guy. I'll treat
Mhm.
myself to make cacio e pepe once in a while, and which is like my fave, or amatriciana, or any of the four pastas of Rome. You can count me in. Um, but I do stay away from carbs as well. So there's ways to do that, right? Like bistecca, right? When you're cooking your steaks and you're using rosemary and a little bit of butter, you're avoiding the pastas. Like that's what you really have to do. So if you're cooking anything that does take flour, you can sub out that almond flour. You can't make pasta with almond flour because it just doesn't bind. The gluten's not there.
Mhm.
So we teach, fresh pasta. God, I must teach that once or twice a week for 20 years. So pasta making is a big piece of my life. I love making pasta. We have three of them next week. And, making tortellini, making ravioli, making fettuccine, making farfalle, all of that. I love all that piece of it, but it can be very heavy. So
Yeah.
the idea is you have to think things through, right? Because they do have a lot of cured meats, which is great. You can use cured meats, you can use olives, you can use all things like that to kind of steer it away. Caprese salad is a fantastic substitute at the beginning if you're trying to avoid the bread, right? Because you have that fresh mozz, you have the tomato, like you can really just kind of take those things out. And are you going to miss the bread? Are you going to miss the pasta? Of course, but you can still make things super flavorful
Mhm.
and not have to have it. My whole thing that I tell people all the time, and I'm a big believer in eating healthy and just kind of knowing what's going in your food and cooking. That's the same way I cook for my family. But don't avoid everything.
Mhm.
You don't have to say, "Oh, I need to lose weight. I'm going to just not eat pasta." That's that's not the approach you want. You want to balance. And
Right.
when you have Italian food, the great thing about Italian food is the freshness and the
Mhm.
simplicity of ingredients, and that you don't use a lot of ingredients. You use a very few ingredients, but they're all top of the line. And that's how you get fantastic dishes. You're pulling that fresh mozz to make your caprese, right? You're making your own dough so you know what's in it. When you're buying jarred sauce off a shelf and it's been sitting there for 3 months, you should probably question why, and like I really don't, I try not to harp on people about things, but like jarred shit. I mean, it's obviously got a lot of salt and sugar because it's sitting on a shelf, and that's what's
Mhm.
keeping it shelf stable. And making pizza sauce takes 2 seconds, and it's way, way better. With Italian cooking, I'm just a big believer, like I said, in fresh ingredients, the best ingredients, and taking the time to chop it correctly and make it correct. Like those are elements for Italian cooking that I think are just the keys to making it. And plus a
Now,
lot of fish, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Now, one of my favorite Italian dishes is eggplant parm.
Mm.
Do you have any eggplant parm tips?
Eggplant parm, when you slice your eggplant, do you salt it and leave it out?
If I have time, it depends on how much
Yeah.
planning I do.
Oh, well, yeah. So that's the key, right? Is you want to salt it and put it on paper towels and draw that water out and draw that bitterness out, right? And then that to me is the key. And you have to dry that eggplant really well before you do the flour, egg, breadcrumb,
Mm.
because if you just dip your eggplant that's still a little wet into the flour and then the egg and then the breadcrumb and you fry it, that's when the batter slips off,
Mhm.
if you didn't
Mm.
know. So because that extra layer of moisture doesn't, it immediately takes the flour and makes it go like this and come off the eggplant. So when you put the heavier breadcrumb on and then it comes later, it all slips off. So if you make sure you have a dry, and that goes with proteins as well. If you have a dry surface when you flour it, everything will stick better. And make your sauce for your eggplant parm. That's a huge, huge key to it, right? Because that sauce in an eggplant parm is really the star, right? The eggplant's great, the breadcrumbs are great and everything, but that sauce is really what makes it. So if you're making any element from scratch, make the sauce. You don't have to make the breadcrumbs, even though I do recommend that because it's super good if you have like leftover focaccia and things like that. Put it in your freezer. If you have like half a piece of focaccia left or leftover bread, put it all in your freezer and have it in a bag. And then you take it out and you toast them all and then just put them in your food processor and blend it up and you have homemade breadcrumbs. You put a little Parmesan and fresh herbs in there and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I was trying to do eggplant parm where I use like almond or some sort of substitute breadcrumbs, like almond breadcrumbs, and I use the air fryer to cook it instead of frying.
How'd it come out?
Like
it was with almond flour and an air fryer.
Yeah, and the canned sauce because I just don't have the. Also, because the air fryer takes you can only do so many in one batch, so I need I need more planning time.
Yeah, eggplant parm really needs to. You got to layer that and really let it do its thing in the oven. That's one of the key. Like that's something you can do with. You can use almond flour instead of AP flour at the top, right, and replace the AP flour. But the breadcrumbs and the crisp, it's hard for people. Like when I was cooking for professional athletes, they'd want things, but they'd want them healthied up, right? They want them elevated. And some of the things are just you can't do because your brain says, here's eggplant parm, and then you get this, and you're like, this is not eggplant parm. Yeah. But you can take steps to frying it in a neutral oil, making sure you're frying at the right temperature, right? If you're frying at the wrong temperature, that's what a lot of people do, right? They don't take the time to measure their oil, or that they don't cook enough to know. So if you're cooking too high, your product burns a bit and your inside is raw. But if you cook too low, your breadcrumbs soak up the oil.
Right.
So now you're immediately getting unhealthy, right? Like now your dish has that weird layer of oil, which I get a lot. People ask me, they're like, I have oil on the top of my eggplant parm and my chicken parm. And like, how do I get rid of that? I'm like, you're frying at the wrong temp. Because all that leftover oil, when it sits in the fridge, starts to rise. Right. So frying at the right temperature, making your own breadcrumbs, lightly breadcrumbing it, right? Like, but making your own sauce, because immediately when you make your own sauce, you're cutting out the sugars and the salts that are keeping it shelf stable and anything else they're using. So you can healthy it up a bit, right? You can make it better for yourself by just taking those steps. I can't imagine the air fryer would work too well for something like that. That seems, but I'm not too proficient. I did a video for Fritair air fryer last year, and I made arancini, and that came out great in the air fryer, which is one of my. If you don't know what arancini is, and you're listening, it's also known as Sicilian rice balls. So it's risotto that's spread out, and you put it in the fridge, and then you make balls, and you stuff it with a little bit of mozzarella, ground beef, and peas, and then you wrap it up, and it's wrapped in the risotto, and then you roll it in breadcrumbs and deep fry it. Those things are.
I think the air fryer works really well.
The air fryer worked great for those.
Anytime that something says fry or like bake in the oven that's like breaded, I find the air fryer works really well. The only problem is you can only do so much at one time, so you have to like do batches.
Yeah, it is an effective tool. We did I did like a Chipotle style tater tot, that homemade tater tot that we did in the air fryer too, and that was really good. So yeah, the air fryer is a great tool, but like chicken parm, I'm frying those bad boys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Joe, as always, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you again?
At Chef Joe Gatto. That is the place that will lead you to everything that is Joe Gatto. It will lead you down the primrose path of finding all my weird video. And my short horror film Chompers just had its 31st nomination and 14th win. So pretty excited about that.
Where can you find that?
You can see the trailer on my Instagram, and then the full film right now. I think there's going to be some fun news that I'm dropping about that soon, because that's going to be, you're going to be able to see that really soon. So I was going to put it on the Instagram, but now I've had to not do that. So
I'm chomping at the bit to see it.
Oh, well, you're funny, because in the video that is dropping with Fangoria for the Skull Calzones, there is a couple little clips from my horror film in there.
Nice.
Right.
So you'll be able to see a little teaser for it. So yeah, please hit up at Chef Joe Gatto, and definitely check out my drop for Skull Calzones with Fangoria coming out Monday.
All right. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, if you're in the LA area, Dads from the Crypt is sponsoring a special event at Slasher World for the it's kind of a collection of Nightmare on Elm Street actors are going to be doing a signing and doing a little panel. Like Ira Hayden is the big one. And you just go to Slasher World's Instagram, and we share a lot of their stuff on Instagram, and I'll be there as well, getting people to tell me their favorite Dream Warrior and some other fun stuff. So really fun event. It's going to be 2 Saturdays from now. I think that's the 13th or the 14th. I was not prepared to talk about it. I probably should have been, but everyone, you know where to find stuff. It's on a Saturday night. You'll love it. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone for listening. I would really appreciate if you give Dads from the Crypt a rating and review on iTunes, a rating on Spotify, and like and subscribe on YouTube, and follow us at Dads from the Crypt Talk on TikTok. And with that, I thank you for listening to Dads from the Crypt.
Follow Dads from the Crypt on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or I will follow you to the grave. No, seriously, you really should watch. But be careful what you ask for. You may get it.